public. Peace. This is the enemy's public. I am Bro.Nasir. Want to speak about scholarship. What is scholarship? To be a scholar only means that you study. Just because we have scholarship, it doesn't mean that we have the answers. When we study, wherever it is that we study, to have scholarship, that only means you're on board with what you studied. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree. Yet, when we're studying scholarship and we're teaching what we've studied, we have to be responsible. Now, some of us, we engage in irresponsible scholarship, meaning that when we're doing our research, some of us is not researching. We're gravitating and we're clicking on, if we're on a computer, the first things that we see. It may fit our narrative, but we start teaching it. And that is serving to the detriment of our people. Now, I'm going to go over a few examples. It's not going to be long, but I'm going to go over a few examples of irresponsible scholarship. When we start teaching each other things that just outright lies, or things that make us feel better, not necessarily is the truth, it just make us feel better about ourselves. And if we're teaching that as a scholar, which means only someone who studies, if we're teaching someone a feel-good doctrine or to give us a feel-good moment, we may as well go to church, because that's what Reverend gives, a feel-good moment. Yet when you leave, most of us, our problems remain. We listen to some songs that make us feel better. Reverend may give you an encouraging word while passing the collection plate around several times. And then some of us don't even drive to church. Reverend has a fancy vehicle, while some of us have to struggle to get to church, those of us who's into that. But one of the examples I want to, give about irresponsible scholarship is the narrative that some of our brothers and sisters are using, saying that slavery never existed. And some of us would even lie. Some of us would even give false information about slavery. Anyone who's telling us that slavery didn't exist at all, he or she, they're very irresponsible. Because first, it lets our enemy off the hook for what they've done to us. And we should never let our enemy off the hook for what they've done to us. They're trying to get off the hook by pushing critical race theory because the critical race theory is being critical on them. So they don't want us teaching American history. They're calling it critical race theory now because it makes them look bad. They don't want their children to feel bad about what their forefathers have done. And we do ourselves a disservice by saying that slavery never existed. Now, it was exaggerated to make us look weak, like we just rolled over and did nothing about our condition, when there was hundreds of slavery revolts, hundreds. They name a few names of brothers and sisters that revolted during slavery, yet there were hundreds. Now, I know when some of us say, oh, my family did this, my family did that, I'm not even denying that. Yet, it's a feel-good moment for you. If it boosts your esteem, I'm with you. But we have to tell the truth. And when we say our atrocities, our sojourn in America didn't happen, that lets our enemy off the hook. Now, the United States, they repaired the damage to everyone that they victimized besides us. And the reason why we don't get what's owed to us is because we don't fight hard enough and we let anybody tell us anything. Now, we need to understand that war doesn't always mean violence. War can be under the form of scholarship. They can send someone that looks like us with an alternate scholarship telling us that what happened to us didn't happen to us. So we could be thrown off by what our enemy has done to us. How you can tell what happened to us by what is happening to us. Now, we right now today are on the bottom rail. Believe it or not, I don't care how many millionaires or billionaires we have. If because of what we say can cause Viacom to cancel a Nick Cannon, that is not power. That's not power. If he can say something that's the truth and that with a phone call, take all his shows from him that he created, that is not power. How, if we didn't experience something that put us on the bottom and them on top, which is not, some of us, you get some Negroes think that's how it's supposed to be. But I don't think my people with our brilliance is supposed to be on the bottom and anyone else is supposed to be on the top of us. We're too brilliant and we are the culture all over the world. We are the culture. Anywhere you go on this planet, people are mimicking and they're blood sucking off us. I asked the question before. If we weren't enslaved, some of us, I'm not saying all of us, because again, some of us just wasn't having it. And all of us wasn't brought over here and became slaves. Some of us were kidnapped from where we were in this land and was enslaved. Some of us fought and drove them bastards off. But we cannot be that irresponsible and say it didn't exist. And they still blood suck off us to this day. I'm in my 50s. When hip hop first started, a lot of people my parents' age didn't want anything to do with hip hop. With the exception of my father, because the first hip hop record I heard, he bought. So, not my parents. But you can't hear music today, regardless of genre, without hearing a hip hop artist on it, or some influence of hip hop. We are the culture. And we need to understand that. And we also need to understand what Dr. John Henry Clark said. He said two things among things that resonated with me was our people have no allies, no friends. We are our only allies and friends, so we need to stick together based on that. And he also said that our people expect who stand on our behalf. We expect them to be perfect. When we see our brother and sister standing on our behalf, we need to think of ourselves. If I'm not perfect, how can I expect those who stand on my behalf to be perfect? If that person have the fortitude to stand in the midst of our enemy on behalf of us and fight for us, he or she don't have to be perfect. Just do a perfect work, but we don't put that pressure on other people. Our people, some of us went out and voted for a man that knew didn't like us, knew was a outright racist. And as far as our people, when they stand before us and on behalf of us, our perception of a person, I'm going to repeat that, our perception of a person is not that person's responsibility because we was thinking that about that person. Just like I'll put myself in it. Anybody's perception of me is not my responsibility because I'm not thinking that about myself. The next man is. So that's not my responsibility to be what somebody perceive of me. I could just do the work and be the best brother I could for my people. Yet when I speak, I want to be responsible about what I'm teaching my people. And I don't want to teach them anything that's going to serve to our detriment. Because a lot of us serve to the detriment of our people. We get offices. Some of our people get excited. And we root some of our brothers and sisters on when they get those offices or high-ranked jobs or what have you. And they disappoint us. Meaning, and putting a stamp on what I just said, our perception of that person is not that person's responsibility. Because when we get excited about a person, that person let us down. So what we need to do is look in the mirror and be the best that we could be, representing our people. But when we study something and we go out and teach it without doing some extensive studying and knowing and understand before we start teaching it, if we don't do that, is irresponsible because we have a open and consistent enemy that is very wickedly wise. And they see that their days are numbered as being the power which explains their behavior. Joe Biden said to a bunch of brothers and sisters on a Zoom meeting that America is doomed. And then he said it's not just because of African Americans. If he can say not just because, that means we are part of the reason why America is doomed. We have to listen to everything in the way people put things when they speak. And then he told us that we're going to have to deal with the Hispanics because their numbers are dwindling and they're going to ally themselves with anybody that they could call white on the census and as a status. And they'll ally themselves with anyone. They will unite against us. That's why we have a slew of Hispanic white supremacists. Villanueva in California, sheriff. They have white Hispanic gangs. The leader of the Proud Boys is a Hispanic. He even has melanin, yet he's a white supremacist. That's what he is. He's a white supremacist. And we need to teach our people who our enemy is. It's not always based on skin color. If that person is serving to your detriment as a people, that is your enemy. Whenever a man like Eric Adams, mayor of the city of New York, and the police commissioner stand up and use white supremacist talking points, the police commissioner, I think her name is Keechant Sewell, whenever they can stand on a podium and use white supremacist talking points about their own people, they are serving to the detriment of their people. He actually want to bring stop and frisk back, knowing who it affects and don't even care. Why? Because they're individualists. They don't look at us as their people. They look at us as not even as people, even them being a part of who we are. When they get these offices, some of us be excited again, but they always let us down because they're giving those offices and positions to be black faces on white supremacy. And that's the reason why they're giving those positions. It's very important when we teach our people everything that happened and stop saying things just to make our people feel good. Some of us need self-esteem. Self-esteem comes from you, not nobody else. That's why it's called self-esteem. We don't need feel-good moments. We need to put the work in and be responsible about what we teach our people. We have suffered the worst of atrocities in the history of this world. And you got those among us trying to tell us that it didn't happen. All because they want to feel good about themselves. We were victims. Now it makes no sense that we are victims because all we have to do is organize, strategize, and deputize. That's all we have to do. It makes no sense for us to be victims. And it made no sense then. But I'm going to say it like this. They couldn't have done it without us. Anything that happened to us, they couldn't have done it without one of us. All the way back to slavery itself. They couldn't have done it without us. Just like right now, all that happens to our people, they can't do it without one of us. Because if you look at these municipalities, a lot of these jails, the commissioners and superintendents is a black man or a black woman running a whole state of prisons. They got sister police commissioners, brother police commissioners, brothers and sister mayors, and all this stuff is done on their watch and they do nothing about it. So they can't do whatever they do to us without one of us. And it was always that way. Sellout niggas been around for a long time. For a long time. And they are here to this very damn moment. And they will willingly serve to the detriment of our people. Pardon me, phone going off. They will serve to the detriment of our people. For a little bit of nothing, whether it's entertainment, politics, medical, education, you name it. It's been a war waged against us on all fronts, even with this scholarship, because some of our brothers and sisters get on here and mislead us willingly and knowingly misleading us. Knowing what they're teaching our people is serving to our detriment. Somebody get up here and tell you that it's a kumbaya world. It's lying to us. Someone who tell us that we didn't suffer the atrocities. They're changing the narrative in the textbooks that our children are reading because they want to feel better about themselves, and we follow that narrative. That's irresponsible. I don't care how they feel about their children feel about what happened in the past. If it happened, it happened. And what they need to do is repair the damage that they've done. They did it with everybody I don't know what happened, but I was just kicked out of my own stream. Yeah, we have to be responsible when we are teaching our people. We have to teach a true history, our greatness, not just our atrocities. We have to teach about our greatness also, because we didn't just be created as a people by the Creator, went through slavery and then the civil rights movement. We are far greater than people will have us to believe. And our enemy is not as great as they will have us believe. We are far greater than we anticipate. Kings and queens. And we're the strongest people on this planet. Based on our sojourn here in the wilderness of North America, we're still here going strong. Now, what lets you know how great we are, what we went through today, we are the culture. We're the culture. So that lets us know how good and how great we are. Out of all we went through and continuously go through, the people who despise us want to be just like us and really wish they were us. Yet we have to hold our enemy accountable based on their wicked, violent history. They have to be held accountable for that. And it's irresponsible for us to neglect that. And it's irresponsible for us to tell our people what happened to us didn't happen to us. This is The Enemy's Public. I am Bro.Nasir. Like, share, subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section. Peace.